Welcome everybody to the Ladies and Greats episode of Heighten Your Sixth Sense with Shaun Green. I got Mr. Damien Larson here today. He is a TEDx speaker, a poet, entrepreneur. He has a powerful talks with soul-shaking poetry, inspired action, self-discovery, and a presence. He's here to share transformative insights on self-worth, mindset, and the power of presence. Let's dive in. Mr. Lawrence, welcome to the show. How you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful. John, thanks for having me. Happy to be here, man.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I know we talked back in after December, I think before the busy Christmas times, and just it's good to reconnect with you again. And we've had a really good conversation back during that time, and there's a lot been going on. You look vacations, holidays, family time, and all of that. So, just want to dive in and get a little, give the audience a little background of you, and what got you started in the direction, and everything that inspires you.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I would say I could take it way back, right? My character was really, I would say, developed in martial arts at a young age. I met a martial artist at a birthday party, and this gentleman became a mentor and like a father figure to me in terms of where that led my career. I then became a trainer. And I worked in the fitness and wellness industry for like 20 years. And, yeah, even growing up, my mom was really into holistic health and was taking me for energy healing and Reiki sessions and
Oh,
making me,
cool.
miso milkshakes and putting raw eggs with protein. So it's like health and wellness is
Yeah.
always, yeah, part of
Okay.
my,
So it's part of your foundation, part of your core.
absolutely.
Your
Yeah.
mom started you down a great path.
Yes, I'm thankful for it now. When I was trying to chug down raw eggs in some, Shackley protein powder or some like
Yeah.
miso. Oh
Yeah.
man, you can imagine what a miso shake tastes like when you're 12 years
Ooh,
old.
man. Miso soup. I mean, it's okay, but it's ain't something I want to eat every day.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean that got me, it really built that foundation of health and wellness. And then I had like a 20-year career as a fitness professional, ultimately opened my own gym. And right around the age of 12 years old, I was walking home from school. I was in school at St. Benedict's Prep, and
Mhm.
one of the older, bigger students was walking the same direction as me, and he had headphones on. And I said to him, what are you listening to? And he
Mhm.
was like, "Hey, put this on. You ever hear of Tupac?" And I was like, "No." It's on, and I heard, "Hail Mary, come with me."
All
I
right.
went home. I
There you
went
go.
home and just dove into Tupac's work, and my very
Yeah.
first rhyme was taking the melody of changes and writing my own
Okay.
lyrics. So I was rapping the inflection and rapping and writing to his melody and his delivery, but just changing them into my own words. So the
Man.
very first thing I wrote was like Tupac inspired, but that was at like maybe, I don't know, whatever grade you're in or whatever age you are around seventh grade, sixth grade, seventh grade. But that
Oh, like
started writing.
13, 12, 13.
Okay, yeah. So that started
Mhm.
me off with writing. And the whole time that I've been a trainer, and really since that day, I've been writing creatively, sometimes more than others.
Mhm.
Sometimes it was, in that early stage of my life, it was rap songs. I wanted to be a rapper, but I would also write
Yeah.
poetry. And at this stage, 42 years old, I've evolved to just I write what's on my heart, and sometimes it'll be to a rhythm, sometimes it will
Mhm.
be to strings, sometimes I'm on the treadmill with no music at all, and I'm just
Yeah.
almost like
Just
channeling
vibing.
some stuff. But yeah, that's my
Wow.
background, man. I had, like I said, I started the gym. I know all over here with this, but I'm trying to
No.
marry the story of when my creativity started and this
Yeah, yeah,
entrepreneur.
no, you got it. It's great. Yeah.
And so yeah, around 2013, I started my gym. 21, I sold my gym, and I've been going online since. Had the goal of doing the TEDx talk, getting my words out there, because at a
Mhm.
certain point when I really kind of began my spiritual journey, I realized that my poetry was a gift and that I could say things that would inspire people, and I had the ability to speak to people's heart. So
Mhm.
it also felt less important for me to have music behind it in general. And,
It's
and
about the
I always,
voice.
man,
Mhm.
exactly. I always felt like I got to get it out there. I got to get it out there. And I was too self-conscious. I was too insecure. And
Right.
through some spiritual work, through realizing, my message is bigger than me, that the gift is my own, but the message is not, I just started putting myself out there, and it culminated into a TED Talk that I was able to deliver in November last year, and it aired to the world on in early January 2025. And about a month in now, we have about 50,000 views. So we're climbing.
Wow.
I'm happy to, have that out there. And
That's incredible, man.
yeah, man, it's been a journey, and
Mhm.
I'm grateful.
Yeah, it sounds like it's an incredible journey, man. You had a lot of different stages, martial arts, the fitness, and that led to, your friend introduced you to Tupac, and you fall in love with that, and that led you to writing rhymes and poetry, and so and just it's just been a whole progression, But the
Yeah.
thing is, I know you was saying that you didn't have, I guess when you was want to like really get in front of people, you said you didn't really
Mhm.
have the self confidence, this and that, but I think you just I feel like you have it. You just didn't see it in yourself, probably,
Yeah.
at that time. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a good insight. You know what? I
Hmm.
think I am a confident person, and in most
Hmm.
areas of my life, I can come across with confidence because I am confident. But
Yeah.
you know what I realized looking back, I would call it comparisonitis.
Exactly. That kills a lot of people. Kills a lot of dreams. Yeah.
Yes, this imposter
Hmm.
syndrome,
Hmm.
and it's like, who are you comparing yourself to?
Yeah.
If
It's
you
it's
can,
like I'm guilty of this myself. Over the years, comparing and worrying about what other people think. But I finally realized that it's me versus me.
man,
Every day striving to get that 1% better, and not
absolutely.
not and not looking back and just realizing that each day is a gift because when you wake up, it's a gift because a lot of people went to sleep and didn't wake up, so just count that today or the next is this day one. So I'm just working on getting better, and I,
Yeah,
I see that growth in you, that you was every day you was getting better at your craft, and it just evolved into other things. That's pretty cool.
yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, man. But I really like that you got into the rhymes and you got into the poetry. Because I'm inspired by that because I used to back early, years ago before I was a father and all that. I used to, get into do poetry and got into the
Mhm.
rhymes and stuff. But you sometimes you get growing up in the family, kind of sometimes you let things go. But that's
Yeah,
something that I was inspired by when I was younger. So I
yeah.
feel that vibe. So that's pretty cool.
You know what, too? I like that you said that because it's like we're all artists,
Yeah,
and
we all creative.
I think that if we weren't living in the modern society that we live in, right, separated from each other, not as connected, we're all going to jobs. Like if
Hmm.
we were still in that tribal community as I believe God intended, there would be
Hmm.
the storytellers, there would be the warriors, there would be the
Hmm.
caretakers, but everybody would still have that creative component. Everybody would paint at some point because you're not
Hmm.
worried about a 9 to 5. You're not worried about all this. Like we're
Yeah.
surviving, and when we're not surviving, we're eating. When we're not eating, we're hanging out.
Yeah.
Everybody, and we're doing things. I think it's just a human thing, right? Like look at it. If you look at the hieroglyphs and the cave paintings, like were those
Hmm.
necessarily artists or were those people just telling a story, having fun?
Yeah.
Like you don't. I saw some post somewhere that said that
Hmm.
like we feel we have to be so good now, but like anybody can paint. A child is going to
Hmm.
draw and write with crayons and paint just because it's natural. It's inherent to be creative. And I think that when we
Hmm.
lose that and lose touch with that, there's a big part of us that almost dies in a way. And I think at any given point, if you could get back into some creative expression, whether you're singing around the house, whether you start drawing pictures, whether you start
Hmm.
reading poetry, writing poetry. I have a friend who writes movie scripts. He's never going to make a movie, but what a
Hmm.
creative outlet.
Yeah, but you never know.
That's
You never know.
absolutely right. If
All it
it's
takes is all it takes is one to give you your break.
yes, you're right.
That is true though. But I think we all are creators. We all are representatives of God, and He
Yes.
made us. I feel like He made us all to be creators. And I think a lot of people get caught up and they think about, oh, you like, what's an analogy like for us? I heard somebody saying like, why does a company have a creative department and they may have like a handful of people work in it, but
Yeah.
everybody can create, like you were saying. So like, but people they lose track of that or lose sight of that and think that, oh, I'm not good at art or I'm not good at writing. But we all naturally are born with that gift of writing and drawing and speaking and all of that and singing. Everybody can sing. It might not sound as good as somebody else, but everybody can sing.
Right,
And
exactly, Sean. And that comes
mhm,
back to that comparisonitis. See, as like a
mhm.
15-year-old, I'm comparing myself to Jay-Z and Eminem. If I
Exactly.
compared myself to the other 15-year-olds that I knew, I'd be the greatest, right? And it's the painter who's comparing themselves to a Basquiat, or it's the poet who's comparing himself to Shakespeare. Like,
Yeah.
if you're not comparing, then you're gonna realize that you're just as worthy as anybody else.
Yeah, because they did the same process. They just put more hours into it to get to that
Absolutely.
level. No, granted, some people are born with like they just on that
Mhm.
superstar level from birth, but that's just part of it. And some people are superstars at I don't know, cutting grass or whatever they may be good at. But some people,
Yes,
everybody are good at something. But some
right.
people are good at multiple things. So
Absolutely. We all have our zones of genius, right?
exactly. So I'm gonna get back into like the self-worth and all that. How can someone shift self-doubt to self-worth using the me to we mindset?
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, in
Mhm.
my talk, I delivered a three-step, system to help someone in a moment be able to shift. So it starts with first it is shifts. Hold on. I said it so many times that now when I try to recall it, it's like
Yeah,
it doesn't want to pop up into my head. So
I got
it's center, shift, and connect. First, you want to center yourself, right? Because
you.
it takes a level of being present. Half
Hmm.
the time when I'm lacking confidence, when we are lacking confidence, it's because we're not in the moment, right?
Not present.
You're aware of that you're not worthy, you're aware of your lack of worth, because
Hmm.
you're in your head, you're stuck, you're thinking about what this next person's thinking, or you're thinking about something in the past. You're not
Hmm.
present in the moment, because when we're here and present, we realize everything we need is provided for us, right,
Yeah,
in this
everything's
very
already
moment.
already
So
here.
the first step is to do this centering. So we take a deep breath and center yourself. That's step one. Step
Okay.
two is to shift your focus. So take your focus out of the future or out of the past and bring it to the present moment and look around
Hmm.
in this present moment. If I'm feeling a certain way, I'm going to look around. Who am I affecting in this moment? Who can I make laugh? Am I making somebody feel heard? Right now,
Yeah.
you and I are engaged in a conversation, right? So I'm answering
Hmm.
you, I'm responding to you, I'm listening
Hmm.
to you. You feel heard, you feel understood. I feel
Yeah.
heard and understood. So that's demonstrating the power of my presence right now. So we did the center, then we shifted, and now I'm
Hmm.
looking for evidence of my own self-worth. I can show my worth right now by Shaun is listening to me. Shaun's
Hmm.
watching me,
Hmm.
making Shaun feel seen and heard. That gives me a little bit of worthiness right now. So now we connect to that. So I look
Okay.
at that evidence and I connect to that awareness. Okay, wow, he's listening to me. I'm listening to him. We have this connection, connecting
Hmm.
with somebody. And if it's not just this individual conversation, maybe I'm standing in a line, right? Looking around at the other people. There's always evidence of the power of your presence. So we
Hmm.
center ourselves, we shift the mindset to be more aware of our surroundings, and then we connect to whatever we found in that moment. And typically it's evidence that you are naturally and inherently worthy.
Wow, that is really cool. So, what inspired you to that concept? How did that come to you? That download come to you?
Yeah, so you know what? Just my own struggles with self-worth and
Mm.
feeling a lack of confidence from experiences in my own life. I dealt with I was kind of like a poor kid growing up in a rich neighborhood. Grew up with my mom and my six siblings, single mother, from Brooklyn. Then we moved into this rich white area in Burnersville, New Jersey, and it was like, wow, this is a stark contrast. So
Mm.
naturally, I was feeling less than. On top of the fact that all my friends had fathers and I didn't have a father in my life, or we weren't
Okay,
very close at the time. It was more of like an absentee situation. Luckily
I
enough,
got
I
you.
was able to find father figures and mentors. But in both of these situations, those relationships came to an end. And again, I
Mm.
kept finding myself almost like being abandoned by these male role models and these father figures. So it
Mm.
lent to this belief, Shaun, that like maybe I just don't deserve it. I
Yeah.
talk about this in the talk, maybe I don't deserve this kind of love and guidance. Maybe I'm not worth it.
Mm.
And I held those subconscious beliefs for a while until I made them conscious, and I did the work to understand, hey, this is what you actually believe. And when I found that that's what I believed, I did what was needed for me, to change that story. That started the journey, right? Because I knew I could help people pull out of that. On top of that, dear friend of mine lost his brother to suicide. My brother's dear friend took his own
Wow.
life to suicide, and
Sorry
this
to hear
was
that.
in a 2 year window. This urged me even more, right, to wake up and realize, like, listen, what you say and your gift could have helped them. I feel like it could have helped them. But, when I say them, there's us, because we all struggle with these feelings. So it just pushed me more to get it out there. My own personal experience, and then these two, very traumatic and painful experiences of witnessing my brother, witnessing my friend struggle with these situations. And just knowing, like, men out there are struggling, people out there are struggling. I know women
Yeah.
that are struggling. So
Yeah.
yeah, it became bigger than me, brother. And I just felt like, hey, you know what? Maybe God gave you this gift of gab to speak some life into
To
people
use
and,
it.
and remind people of how worthy we all are.
That's good. I mean, you through pain and struggle, you found progress and you found yourself, but you also found that you can use what your gift to help people around you and people not just around you, people all over now. Because if you say you got all the 50,000 plus views, that's going to even grow any further. So that's
Yeah.
really great, man. Yeah, we we,
Thank
we
you.
need we need some light in this world. you know,
Absolutely.
these type of talks that's gonna help people, you know, because people need it. It's so much, you know, so much pressure, so much stress on people, and so much darkness at times. You know, we need somebody with a powerful voice that can bring light and also like recenter a person, shift them, and get them back connected to something that's really gonna bring about positive change and growth in their life. So that's really important.
Yeah, man, you said it. Absolutely. I agree 100%. And I feel like, also some people might hear me and they don't resonate with my voice or with my message.
Mm-hmm.
Just like you might have your taste in music. Some people love hip
Mm-hmm.
hop, some people don't. Some people love the Beatles, some people don't. I personally
Exactly.
don't love the Beatles. I
Yeah.
I can appreciate their mastery,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't play their music. So
Yeah.
when I share, I'm not really like looking for the acceptance and looking for that validation. Like there's a part of me that is, and that's okay because that part drives me to perform
Mm-hmm.
and drives me to share. But I know inside that's not really why I'm doing it. Do you know what I'm saying?
I
So
got you. It's
I
not you're not looking for gratification for yourself. Yeah.
yeah, and I
Mm-hmm.
say that because there's people out there that need to hear it from me, right? And I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
meet them along my journey. Just like there's people out there that need to hear what you have to say. They tune into, this podcast because the way that Shaun Green delivers it. And you might say
Yeah.
the same thing that five other people are saying, but it's your voice, it's your
Mm-hmm.
tone, it's your delivery that
Mm-hmm.
resonates with them. So
Exactly.
yeah, so that's what inspires me also and makes me want to tell other people like if you got something to say, say it because there's people out there
Mm-hmm.
waiting to hear what you're going to say
Mm-hmm.
and they're waiting to hear, the medicine that's on your heart if you will.
Because it's all a gift from your higher self or from God, however you want to say, recognize and say it. So like, if you have something to say, some lights, a gift, or a voice, everybody got a voice. Just
Yeah.
say it. I mean, that's the power of social media and these Zooms and all this stuff is that you can speak and say something to help somebody. You can do
Mhm.
something. You can bring about effect that's going to bring about some great change. It's going to maybe inspire somebody, maybe change somebody from like doing something detrimental to their own self.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Right, we've all had the days where, you put on a song and it changes your state, right? Or you're
Oh
down
yeah.
and out and it
Hmm.
changes your state. Or you're going to play some ball with your friends or you're going to do something and you need to be hyped up, right?
Yep.
Like there's a messenger that has a message that speaks to you and you can choose sometimes, right? I'm going to listen to this song. It's the same
Hmm.
thing, right? We're just sharing energy and we're
Yeah, that's all it
sharing a
is.
message and a sentiment.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah,
powerful.
yeah. I know one of the biggest thing I think people is separations. People caught up in the separation.
Yes.
But we all connected. We all one. And
You
that's the,
said
that's
it.
the, that's that one thing that I think people are missing the most is that the oneness that yeah we may be divided by space, but really we're not. We all connected. We all one.
Yes, 100% fully agree with you.
But what role does presence play in overcoming fear and limiting beliefs?
Well, I would say that fear lives in the future.
Yeah, I agree.
Fear doesn't live in the present. Right? And there's multiple acronyms for fear. Forget
Yeah,
everything and run. False evidence appearing real, right? And there's some
yeah,
with some foul language in there, so I'll keep it clean. But it's like if I'm fully present in this moment, there is nothing to fear because in this very moment, which is different than this one and this one and this one, right? But like
exactly.
in this now moment, fear doesn't live here. So if I can live here, I'm fearless. So presence, and that's like the cool way to say it. That's me being a poet.
Yeah.
But in reality, how does presence help you face fears? Is that kind of the question?
Yeah, yeah. Basically, how does the presence play in overcoming fear and the limiting beliefs, and how
Yeah.
can we cultivate it daily? How can we make that grow and manifest into I guess like a superpower or strength. In a sense.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say first order of business is learning to become present. And as much as I speak about presence, I speak about it because I struggle with it. And not I
Mhm.
struggled, I still do. Right. I
Yeah,
have
we
a
all
very
do.
busy ADHD brain. I think we all do struggle with it. But I work on it daily. So
Mhm.
that first key is becoming present and being in this moment. And I think that that's where, we can realize like, okay, what am I scared of? When you can have this
Mhm.
self dialogue, that's part of being in the present moment. So I can
Exactly.
center myself, whether I take a breath, or whether I sit down with a journal. And I
Hmm.
can write down, what am I scared of? What's the worst possible outcome? If that happens, then what? Right? And you can also do this as an internal dialogue in your head. So I become
Hmm.
present and I ask myself, what am I scared of? Okay, I'm scared of this thing happening. If this happens, then what? Am I going to die? Am I going to be,
Hmm.
10 steps back in my career? Am I going to lose a relationship? Okay. If
Yeah.
yes, then what? You can work it all the way down to that
Hmm.
worst case scenario. And if that worst case scenario isn't you dying on the spot, you
Hmm.
got to step forward. You know what I mean? And I think like we talk ourselves into some nonsensical thinking, we can talk ourselves out of it because it's
Hmm.
like, okay, I realize this fear, it's not even here. I just worked through all the scenarios that are probably not even going to happen. So in this present moment, fear is not here. In this present moment, I'll work out in my mind how I can overcome that fear and how illogical that fear really probably is. And that all happens, by being present, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, being present is a tough thing these days with the constant notifications on devices and, people always looking at the phones for what, whether it's a notification or a text or, like, cause like you go to restaurants or just out, you'll see people together and then they won't be even present with each other.
Yes.
Everybody be at a table or whatever, and they just everybody looking at their phones.
Yeah, what a shame.
So, and then it just it's a struggle for everybody, definitely.
Yeah.
But if you're not aware that it's an issue or it's something you should work on, I guess you're not going to work on or you're not going to recognize that it's a problem.
Correct. Yeah, it's the awareness, right? You have to become aware first, and then you can do whatever works best for you to become more present.
Exactly. Yeah, I know I struggle with it, but I've been really working hard on just focusing on one thing at a time. And then if it's something you need to be doing, do that.
Yes.
You know, and if you want to keep track of what you got going on for that day, make a list or something. Instead of like being all over the place about stuff. I know that's why I know it helps me the most
Right.
to be
Absolutely.
more
Yeah.
present. Yeah, to be more present on whatever I'm doing, whether I'm some solo or with a group of people, wherever it may be.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Mhm.
But I think that a lot of people could learn from that, and finding a way to organize your thoughts and be organized in the moment.
Exactly. So for someone struggling with discipline and motivation,
Mm.
what's the first practical step that you take to regain the momentum?
Setting micro goals and celebrating. First step, micro goals, right? Set a small goal. If I say I'm going to lose 20 pounds, it's way more likely that if I tell myself I'm going to go to the gym 3 times in the next 10 days. That's a
Mm-hmm.
micro goal. If I want to lose 20 pounds, I got to get myself to the gym, got to eat differently. But if I try it all at once and I fail and I keep repeating that same pattern, it's way more challenging. So I encourage people to set micro goals in every area of your life, whether it's, fitness, nutrition, right? Whether
Mm-hmm.
it's like, I need more connection with my wife. I'm going to set a goal of having 2 date nights a month where it's just me and her. And that's a
Mm-hmm.
micro goal. The next step,
Mm-hmm.
I would say, is celebrate your small wins. If you went
Mm-hmm.
to the gym 3 times, hell yeah, good for you. Don't
Yeah.
celebrate, with a Krispy Kreme, celebrate in some way, even if it's just a pat on the
Yeah.
back and an acknowledgement to yourself, or you go and
Yeah.
you buy yourself some new Nikes or something.
Yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense. Micro goals. Okay. So that's like I've heard somebody say recently, win the day. You know.
Yes. I
Mm-hmm.
love that,
Yeah.
right? Because that's also combining with presence, like just today. Just win this day. Don't worry
Yeah.
about next week, 2 weeks, 20
Mm-hmm.
pounds later. What about today? What about this moment?
Yeah. Because it's a compounding effect. If you work out, every day, or you do some type of movement every day, over 30 days, you burn so many calories, you've lost you know, so much weight, So yeah, it's a compounding of the doing the small things, the small monotonous things, over and over
Correct.
again.
Correct. Yeah. And that's, cultivating discipline.
Yeah, I love that. So so what's next? What's next for you in your journey? And what's up coming for you, like in the next, year, 2 years? What's your your
Yes.
goal?
I would like to speak on some more stages. I would like to share my poetry. I'd like
Mhm.
to do a lot more podcasts, and I am entertaining the thought of writing a book that kind of accompanies this whole me to we, some kind of a me to we book, and
Okay.
almost having like, a suite of things. So it's like you got the me to we TEDx talk, the
Hmm.
me to we book. I'm working currently on like a coaching online program that's like maybe a 6 week program or more where people can jump on and it's like video modules
Mm.
journaling techniques, meditations, things to read, and it all is, under that same umbrella of self-worth and tools that have helped me in my own personal journey. So I'm just looking
Yeah.
to expand on that, man, over the next 2 years. And I've also said that I just want to, like you mentioned, let go and let God. I want to try and steer in the direction, but I'm not trying to have like a death grip
Yeah.
on the wheel.
Not forcing it. Yeah. Hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. It's right. Because I feel like when you are too rigid with it, you instead of attracting things, you do the opposite. You push things away. You know, you gotta be
Absolutely, right?
you
You have
gotta
to
be
be
open
ready.
open to it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Open
Open
to
to
the
receive.
current, to the flow.
That's it, man. You got it. Yeah. I'm trying to
Yeah.
be like that.
So you want to do more podcasts? So any thoughts for you doing your own podcast? Or you just want to be guest on podcasts?
You know what? Yeah, as you were saying, you're meeting all these people and you've enjoyed it and it's become a passion for you. I thought like, you know what, maybe I would like to do this too, and because I like to talk, I like to meet with people, and I think like maybe this is a beautiful way to give a voice to other poets, right? So maybe it's not a me to we podcast, maybe it's more like a poetry based podcast that gives people the
Yeah.
opportunity to jump online and share some poetry.
Yeah. That's a great idea, man. I think that'll
Yeah,
rock.
thanks for the inspiration.
Yeah, man. You should definitely do that. So where can people follow you? And learn more about you.
Yeah, absolutely. I am on Facebook and Instagram at Damien Jude. It's just at DAMIENJUDE. And that's my middle
Okay.
name. So
Okay.
that's where
Damn
you can
you.
find me.
All right. So are you still doing the? I know you said stand-up comedy. Are you still doing that as well, along with everything else you're doing?
No, no, no. I'm not doing stand-up comedy. I mean, maybe
Okay.
in my personal life, in my kitchen,
Yeah.
my wife will tell you I'm a stand-up comic.
I got you. Got you. I know you're pretty funny. Like I know you. I remember a profile. I remember you say you were doing some comedy at one point, right?
No, I mean, no, I never did that. I never did that professionally. It was only
Okay.
open mics and stuff.
Oh, Mike. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I know you. I know you got up there and rocked it though. So I know you held it down.
Trying.
Good man. Cool, man. It's been a really great conversation. I mean, I feel like it's gonna really help a lot of people and reach a lot of people and get people to the next level. So
Definitely.
this type of conversation you like to have on Heighten Your Sixth Sense, man.
Well, it's been
Elevating
a
and
pleasure.
affecting change. Yes,
Absolutely.
sir.
No, I appreciate you, being open to having me on and having such great questions and, facilitating a great conversation. And really, I do hope that whatever, knowledge bombs you and I may have dropped, it gets to the people that need it the most. So thanks
Oh
for the
yeah,
opportunity.
yeah, definitely. I feel like if they're ready for it, it'll find them. So that's
Mhm.
how it goes. That's
With
how I
that, can I
feel.
can I close us out with a little something I have?
Yeah, before you do that, one question I always like to ask people. If you could go back, you had the opportunity to go back, say your 21-year-old self,
Mm.
what advice would you give yourself?
Go all in. That's what I
Awesome.
would tell myself. Go all in.
Love that. Love that. All right, man. The floor is yours, man. Let's
Yeah, okay. So I want to share something that, I wrote a while ago. I'm not really sure, when I actually wrote it, probably within the last 2 years. And this was also probably along the lines of that same inspirational channel of men and wanting to help and
mm,
seeing my brothers out there struggling, and seeing men
mm,
just have a tough time. So I was inspired because I was raised on faith and I was raised on hope. My mom was big on faith and hope.
yeah.
So it just kind of came to me this one line. I'm driving in my car and I said, "What's up, bro? I just want to
Mm,
let you know there's hope. Aside from the factual data that nothing actually matters, you and I, along with all of our problems and patterns, eventually turn back into atoms in the cycle of the universe once you disperse and scatter. What matters then, my friend? Does that thought bring about a sense of zen, or does that invite anxiety to come again? Well, like I was saying, there's hope. If you're tripping over lost love, brother, there's always another lover that's equally as dope. If it's money troubles, there's always another job and someone's even more broke. Is it health? Because that's the only wealth you own. Your mind and body heal itself, and that's something you should know. And that just goes to show there's hope. I know you're in pain, but this too shall pass just like the rain, and when it does, you'll feel the warmth of the sunshine again. It's only contrast, fam. It's needed by your brain to teach you appreciation in its absence. So no, it's not in vain. It's a blessing in the way, and even though that way is strange, it's the ebb and flow of life. We either drown or we learn to ride the waves. And that just goes to show there's hope. You see, right now, your imagination is misused, abused by the mind you hold in store. Stop identifying with those thoughts because they're not yours. You didn't create them. They've all been here before, just like the clouds passing through, brother. Everyone gets to witness, but see it once and let it be. Learn to mind your business. It's only in your vision because you keep giving it permission. Trust me, staring at the storm clouds won't make its visit quicken. Surrender and you'll see it was only persistent to your resistance. Ho'oponopono, we offer it all love and forgiveness. Whoa, just so you know, that's hope. So, greener grass, bigger laughs, way more music, greater dancing, better movement, sweeter taste, quenched thirst, salty ocean, Mother Earth, taller mountains, wider plains, cooler breeze, cleaner air, louder prayers, bigger blessings. Yes, I hope to see you there. Peace.
Man, it's beautiful. I love it. Love it, man.
Thank
Oh
you, bro.
man. Yeah, there's a blessing right there to the family, man. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Thanks for letting me share.
Oh man. Well, man, this has been like I said, it's been a great conversation, a great episode with you, man, Mr. Lawrence, and I really appreciate you, reaching out to me and we connected, and I
Yes.
hope it's not the last time we connect, man.
No, we can do this again, man. Absolutely. Maybe if I get started, you could jump on my podcast.
Yeah, that'd be great. I love that. I love that.
Thank you so much, Sean.
All right. Well, this has been another great episode of Heighten Your Sixth Sense with Mr. Damon Lawrence, and we see you guys on the next episode. Much love. Peace.